Hey everybody, it's Lex from PDQ.com. Jordan's over there off camera.
I'm just here to throw in one or two words.
Yeah, and yes.
You're on your own.
Wow.
You just spent your allocation.
You're done for the day, huh?
That's it. I'm out.
I'm going to take you through automating your custom packages. You know, obviously the packages that aren't in our package library, we're going to help you get those so they become very easy to update when the new versions come out. So sharpen your pencils. Do we even have pencils anymore? I mean, we're IT people.
I mean, if I had a pencil, it wouldn't be legible.
Yeah, good point. All right.
We don't have pencils, but we do have metaphors.
We have metaphors. All right. First out the gate, a couple of things we got to cover to make sure this works. And so we're going to start out by covering variables. Okay. These variables are going to be in inventory and deploy. To create a variable, you're going to go up to Options, Variables. There we go. Now, we're going to use Epic Pen in my version variable that I put in here as a test to show you guys. But when you build a variable, you know, Lex's variable. Yeah, okay. Even the typing's bad there. I can't even type my own name. Anywho, when you leave this, it's going to put that @ sign and the parentheses around that for you. So you don't need to worry about adding those. It'll be taken care of for you. But that's how you can tell if something is a custom variable. And if you highlight it and delete it, it will delete. Now, a couple things about the variable that are very important. And this has to do with the PowerShell script. It is case sensitive in this case. Is that correct, Jordan?
Yeah, so if you typed it out the way you did with the weird capitalization, it's going to have to be that exact same way on the other product.
So the other thing is make sure you spell it correctly, because if you spell it wrong, you're going to have to live with it.
Yeah, detail matters on this one. Anything that you do wrong, you're going to have to do wrong forever.
Forever. So, yeah. All right. So I've got the variables there. And then again, in deploy, we go over to variables, options, variables. I've reproduced those here. And when I say reproduced, copy, paste is my best friend, because you've all seen me type. So there it is. There's our variables. Now to make this run considerably smoother, let me shut down the variables here. We're going to need to build a collection and point it at those variables, so we have one spot for the variables to update the collection. You can build one if you want from scratch. I definitely like to employ the copy-paste method, so I'm going to go copy the QGIS. Is that how it's said, or is it QGIS or QGIS?
We had all week to learn how to pronounce this, and we chose not to.
All right, so it is now called QGIS. Now, I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to copy at the top level. I'm going to right-click and just say duplicate. Now, something I learned doing this is if you don't get rid of that filter, the first time you rename, that's going to disappear. So make sure you get rid of your filter. And there it is at the bottom. Opening that up, I really, in this case, don't care about who doesn't have it installed. I'm just caring about who's got it installed so that we can update old versions. So I'm going to delete the two dynamic collections in the middle, the uninstalled, and we'll start at the top. That being said,
We're going to go back to the copy and paste, I assume?
yes, I'm going to open a report and we're going to go copy and paste. We're going to do Epic Pen. Now, we use Epic Pen around here to do this highlighting stuff. JJ spent a ton of time making it so I can do this, just to know that I don't do it very often.
Thanks, man.
Well, you know, I'm looking out for you. A couple of ways to go about that. If you know a machine it's on, you go to that, or you can open the reports and run the application report. This is my preferred method because, you know, I group by the name, and then I just go up and type in the software I'm looking for. Epic. Really? I can't even Epic. I can't even type it. I can't even do it. Epic. Epic Pen. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy that. Back over to my really cool, and I'm also a master of the mouse wheel. Scroll.
There you go.
We're going to open the top level and paste that in. Now it grabbed everything. I'm going to get rid of everything but the Epic Pen and then recopy, Control C. Why did they put Control C and Control V so close together?
Because I fat finger anyway. So
I can still do that. What I'm going to replace is this variable here that applies to QGIS. If you notice, if I highlight the or just hover on the X, it tells you what that is. I'm just going to replace that with Epic Pen. I'm going to replace it right here also. Now this is the point if you were to leave your filter on where these would all disappear. So make sure you take that filter off. And then we're going to jump in and do the two subs. Let's go with the latest. Jordan, thoughts?
Yeah, so it's going to be the same process over and over with one minor change. the reason the copy paste, the main theme of this episode is high efficiency laziness.
Ooh, I like that.
So whatever you can do to remove the most work with little effort is important for this.
Again, I'm replacing anything that has the app name QGIS with Epic Pen. Now, the variable here, I need to replace with a custom variable. A couple of things you need to know here. If you just go over here and select it, there's my custom variable Epic Pen. It's just going to append it, and you're not going to have a good time. So you got to delete the one that's in there. So, boom, there it is, Epic Pen. And then again, back to what I do best, Control C, and we'll replace this one up here. Kind of good idea to make sure you have the parentheses in the right place. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hey, I did it.
It's worth noting, in all the times we have ever done this, you have always at least once left an extra parenthesis in there. So let's see if you can end the streak.
End the streak. Oh, you know, I need that
Can't
Epic
tell
Pen.
him that before.
Concentrating.
Hey, you usually trip on that step. Let's see if you do it this
Well,
time.
I said he usually trips on it on the dry run, and he still absolutely did.
I did. I totally did yesterday. All right, once again, we're replacing. I went back and I copied Epic Pen. Hey, I learned from my mistakes. It only takes years for me to do that. So once again, any of the app names I'm going to replace. And I need to put a space in there. Hey, caught that one. Again, delete this variable before you select your new one. There it is, Epic Pen, copy, Control C. Here it is, final run on this. Can I do it?
Oh, extra cash. Yep.
I'm going to do it.
Nope.
I can't do it. I can't do it, even knowing.
I have to believe you did that on purpose.
Nah, dude, I'm not going to try it again because I don't even want to know. At this point, I exit this, give it an OK, and we should see. Here's the two with Epic Pen, Guinness and Microverse.
Mm-hmm.
Our latest version is 3.7.14, according to our variable. That's where I put that in. And Guinness does not have that version. Let's see what version Guinness has, just to verify we did this right, 3.6. So variables are working there now with our dynamic collections. Do we want to take a question, or should I keep rolling, guys?
Dear Lex, Jordan, and Shane, how would you go about automating a Docker desktop community installation? Sincerely, Dr. Nick.
Okay, Docker desktop. So Docker container stuff.
So with any installer, it's going to be, we're not going to be able to fine tune that live in the webcast, but all the steps we're doing this for the automation will be the same. The only part you're going to have to do is figure out the package part where it does the install with what steps required. And if you're struggling with that, you can send them some of the support, and they're usually pretty good at handling those kind of things.
Absolutely. Do you want another question, or should I roll?
Right.
Oh yeah, let's do another question.
Dear Lex, Shane, and Jordan, is SQL the only way to create a new package in PDQ from PowerShell, or can I use the command line in PDQ deploy command to do that? Nate.
Well, I've never built a package from the CLI that we have built in. I don't know if that's part of it. If it is, it's new. Colby will probably be chatting quickly if that's been added, but I'm not aware of it being there.
Yeah. I'll defer to Colby on that. I've never tried it. I don't know if it's possible.
And he just got back to me. It's not possible.
Not possible. Even not present, he's more intelligent than us.
Even he's not here. You got to use the Colby.
Got to use the Colby?
Even with an 8-second delay.
8-second delay. He's so... Oh, all right. We're done. Let's go over and talk about variables in deploy, because this is going to also be important. Now, I built the My Test version here package. It's very, very comprehensive, very, very difficult to follow. It's got one step. All we're doing is calling a batch file. You'll notice right here, JJ, this is for you, man. And then I'm going to update Epic Pen. Right there. We are referencing the variable for my version in the path. What that'll do is if you hit the ellipses, did I actually call that the right thing? Ellipses?
I think so, yeah.
You'll notice right here, that's 6. So test 6, okay, that's where it exists. If this were a 7, let me go back here and rename this to a 7. We'll say that we've got an issue with the, this is what's going to happen. Test 6, apparently you can't do that live, so we won't test that, but I will show you how to do it wrong. That's going to reference that 6 that is right here in my variables.
For those that were watching the pre-show, speaking of not editing,
Yeah.
There you go. There it is. So let's change the 7 here.
All right.
Couldn't change it there, but I'm going to change the variable here. This is what will happen if your variable is not pointed in the right place. Nothing.
Nothing. So the error was actually up before saying that 6 didn't exist. So it's almost like it did change. It just didn't show up on the
Oh, my
in the
variable's
file
here.
browser.
I'm just wondering if I got out the 7.
If you go back to 6, it's going to say it doesn't exist. So it looks like it did change. It just threw up an error saying it didn't.
Oh, there it is. Oh, I did change it to 7. It just, okay.
So it threw up an error said not going to work, but it worked.
But it worked. So if I go back to eggs test, we'll see that that did change. Yeah, it did change to a 7.
Fun times.
Well, apparently there's some magic happening in the background. I don't know how it works. Your variable is going to point to the folder it's in. Now, with the folder needing to be, we need to change that dynamically so that you can actually just drop files in there. So the path we're going to, let's just build a package and do this.
Okay.
So a new package, we're going to build Epic Pen. Okay, again, we're going to probably name this so I don't have to rename it after the fact. Epic Pen. We're going to go look for our install file. So install step, I'm going to go Epic Pen. It would be an Epic Pen. Now what we're going to do is drop a folder with the version number in it and then put your install files in there. The current version is version 3.7.14. I'm going to go select that. I'm going to open it and you'll notice right here, there's my version. Okay. Now my variable, once again, for Epic Pen is version 3.14. The same. So I'm going to copy this once again because heaven knows if I had to type it, we'd be here all day.
Well, we have a little X next to it where you can input a variable without having to go and copy.
I see that's even a better way to do it. All right, that's what's going to happen if you have the wrong folder. We're going to go and grab that custom variable the easy way.
That's the one.
There it is. I'm glad you're here to help. And now we have a dynamic path to do this. So, any questions so far?
Dear Lex, Jordan, and Shane, is there a way to keep the package auto-updatable but edit the way it deploys? For instance, if I deploy Zoom but want to edit the way it goes, it drops off as an auto-update. Thanks, Mike.
You talking about changing the parameters? If you're going to change the parameters, then yeah, that turns it into a standard package.
You could also,
But there's
you could
post and
put
pre-steps.
post steps and pre-steps in it to make some alterations before or after.
We'd probably need some more information on what Mike is changing, because there's a good chance that what you're changing could be done from a pre or a post step, and if that's the case, then you can still keep that as an auto update, but if you have to actually change the contents of the package, then you're limited to updating it yourself.
Is he referencing our auto update packages or the ones that we're building here?
Well, it sounds like he's talking about, in this case, Zoom. He's
An
talking
auto
about,
download package.
He wants to change one of the packages. Like he wants to change Zoom. Depending on what he needs to change, though, could he do that with a pre or post step? Why don't you show just
All right.
open up a package from the package library?
All right, Adobe Reader. This is an auto download. I can put in pre-steps. You'll notice here these are grayed out. I can't change any of this. I can add post steps. Command delete star.star. This is one that you always want to run after you install stuff, right?
Absolutely.
No.
You want to force it, though. You don't want it to have that annoying pop-up.
Yeah, that is true. Force it. You can add them here, install steps, other steps, and when this does auto update, your pre and post steps will stay with it. It's the steps in the center that'll get auto updated.
please delete that now.
Yeah.
But you don't want me
for
to
those
actually
watching
send
this,
that out?
do not.
Yeah, I don't want you to
send Dell
deploy that
star.
to like Rick Sanchez 2 or 1 or
We don't want to
any of
deploy
the-
that ever.
the important any of the machines, but most importantly, the ones that keep the show running.
But
Yeah, we want to make it very clear to anyone who's watching this. We don't mean run Dell star on star.
yeah, thank you. Okay. Don't do what I say. It's
Lex-
just a bad example.
If
Sorry.
you haven't noticed, is trolling you.
Let's go back and finish talking about paths, folder paths.
Okay.
Okay, here's the repository. My suggestion, highly suggest you drop this in your repository so it's an easy place to keep it. Here's our repository, and if you watched our DFS video, you'll understand why it's breakfast and eggs. And anyway,
It seemed more clever when we did it.
it did, not so much now. This is where your downloads are coming, right? So you got 7-zip, Adobe. Well, there's Epic Pen. I built the folder for the software. I dropped an archive folder in here. It's very important. Jordan will explain why that's important. And then the folder, when you drop the new version, you need to name the folder you're dropping the install files into, the version that you're upgrading to. So if we were, let's say, upgrading to version, I'm going to copy and paste this, right? If we were upgrading to version, 14.1, you'd want to make that folder like that. So anything you want to add to that, Jordan? I mean, it's highly important. Again, this is, the devil in details, guys. If you don't do this right, it's not going to work. You're not going to have a good time.
Well, and a lot of this assumes that with it being the same product, the install's the same. So the package is a new installer, but all the steps are the same. But you want to do a test before this goes live, just because if something does change, you're going to have to change the package as well. But for the most part, that's it's just going to run just fine.
If it's a setup file and it uses cab files and they're all there, you should be good. Just verify before you just launch these. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jordan because now the actual... Oh, I need to do one more thing. Make a schedule for this. So here's Epic Pen. Our version is 14.13, whatever it is. I'm going to go in here, new schedule. I'm going to name this. Now, schedules are pretty tough. Same as you always do them. Let me get that centered a little better. Epic Pen. Was I able to type it? The first, boom.
Look at that.
I got to celebrate the little victories. We're going to send this out monthly on the second Tuesday of the month. I don't know why. Just seems fun. Targets. I'm going to target my collection that we just built in inventory. Go to the bottom there. Again, master of the mouse scroll. And we are targeting Epic Pen Old. There's our package Epic Pen options. Stop deploying to targets once they succeed. And then you'll notice right now we haven't deployed this. We have no history. And it is important, obviously, that, that stop deploying to targets once they succeed goes off your history. So I did deploy my test variable out. And if we look at our schedules here, you'll see this one has target history. It's important because to automate this process, we're going to need to delete that history. And that also falls in the PowerShell realm, which I guess now we'll turn it over to you.
All right.
If you're ready. Bring your beverage.
That's empty.
Oh.
Hello, it's your local one-trick pony. I'm here to talk PowerShell. So I guess the first part, Lex showed you creating the folder with the install file, but then he deleted it. So we're going to go and rebuild those real quick. I'm going to open up Epic Pen there.
Oh, you needed me to actually put the new version there?
It just would have...
Would have saved you a bunch
we
of
were
time.
there anyway.
Oh.
So we're used to do the same thing, copy it in there and rename it to, instead of .0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, I like it.
Yep.
Easy to tell that it's different.
All right, so we have that, and then we're going to go back, and we need to change the test one as well, I believe, just because we have that as a 7. But I think you put
Probably need to update the variable that I messed up.
You're killing me. All right, so we'll put that to 6, and then and rename that one to 7, and then the need for 3 will kind of show up when we go over the PowerShell. Wow, the same error. Interesting.
So it's not just Lex.
No, it's not just Lex.
Whoa, hey.
Oh, it's probably because we're trying to edit the folder within the selector instead of the...
That's a good point, yeah.
Yep. All right, so I guess the PowerShell, we're starting off with just grabbing the variables. You want the first one where I have auto path, that's wherever your repository is or where you're saving these packages. So if you're using the repository, it should be quick to copy in there. If not, just make sure that's accurate. Then we're building a blank array and pointing to the database for PDQ deploy. And the reason is that is when it comes time to clear the schedule, we need to use some SQL and use that to clear out what's in the schedule. All right, and then the next part we have here is we're building our objects. We have test and Epic Pen. I'm going to use that's the test one there. So we have the rest of the path. So we have the basic repository, and then this one's in test or Epic Pen, whatever the path is. The schedule ID, which is important, and I'm pretty sure 16 is wrong. So we're going to go into the schedules, 161. So
If you use the wrong schedule number, you will delete history from
yeah,
the wrong
it will
schedule.
delete the install history of whatever schedule ID you put in there. So you want to make sure that one is correct. And then the variable names, which is case sensitive, as we covered earlier. And then the blank array we built, we're adding the 2 packages that we had in there. If you have more software, a third, it's basically copy one of the ones you have in there, the Epic Pen, change the name of the variable, and then add that at the end. And that way you can have as many packages as you want.
Change your path, change your variable, change your schedule ID, boom.
Yep. All right, now we get into, for each one that has in there, it's going to come in and it's going to count the directories for the folder that it finds. So I have it set to 3 currently because they have the archive. The reason for the archive is, like, if you use our auto download packages, you can go in and you can find one of the older installers, and it's kind of handy. It's at points. It's not always needed, but when it's needed, it's really needed. So if you're looking to keep those installers just in case, you can build the archive, and then we'll add it in there just fine. If you're not worried about that, just remove the archive folder from the structure and then change the count to 2.
Jordan, where is this file located? We want to post this to the
I was-
bonus content.
I was supposed to put it on the Git, and I did not. I will get that up as soon as possible.
Okay, we'll put a link in the description
Yep.
after the webcast,
Yeah,
once this video is published.
I'll do that right after I get up there, so you can go find it there. I think in old version we have it stored somewhere, but we want it more of a PDQ location. All right. So the next part, where I'm specifying the archive, and we're basically getting newer versions, and we're moving the old ones because we have the 2 versions and we have the archive. So it's going to grab them, sort them by creation time, and it's going to move the older one to the archive.
Why did you pick creation time instead of like a folder name and do an evaluate?
Just because I don't know when the variables are going to be, but chances are if you have an existing one, when you're doing one, you're going to build a new one then, so you know the older one is good to go.
That makes sense. And you'll notice that Epic Pen has a V in front of it, and so sorting becomes an issue when you do a version sort. So
Yep. And then at the end of this one, I move the item into the archive. If you're not doing the archive, just change that part, and that's right here. Change that to remove item, and then it will delete it.
scary.
It's scary. But that's just, I mean, if you move it to the archive, it doesn't exist, you're going to have all kinds of problems. So if you're deleting it, you just need to change that little bit of line. All right, and then the next part is based on the folder name, and this is why the name of the folder has to be the version, because we're going to go and we're going to update those variables in each product. So we're coming in there, we're calling our CLI where we update the custom variable name right there. And then based on the version that we found, it's going to grab the .name, which should be the name of the variable, and we'll update it right there. All right, but then, because we have the don't run if it has installed, it's still not going to run. We have to clear out that schedule. And this is a part where, once again, me and Colby are at odds, and I'm probably going to be proven wrong. But I go into the schedule, and I run for each machine on that schedule. I remove it from that list. And he wanted to just run it against all machines. In the test runs, months ago when I first created this, it took quite a bit longer. So his came with a little bit more
Overhead. Little overhead.
a little bit more overhead. It takes a little bit longer, but you're going to be a little bit more sure. I never saw
Thorough,
it fail.
I guess. Yeah. Okay.
So, but in the name of time, 40 machines versus 800 machines, you're going to save a lot of time with the one that I have. So I'm going to preemptively claim that for once I was right and Colby was wrong.
Ooh.
We'll see.
Game on.
This
right.
has a little bit more finesse.
More finesse.
I think yours is more finesse. You target just machines.
Just the machines in the schedule, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna open up this
I stand corrected.
schedule here.
Well, why are you not?
Oh.
Why are you not centering that?
Oh, I'm not saying it.
He's got to run PowerShell.
Yeah,
Keep,
I was
bring that
I was
big
looking to
JJ's
move
and run
it so it wouldn't
PowerShell.
overlap with PowerShell because if I run it, I wanted to see.
You just
that the
zoomed in, and
schedule-
I watch you slowly move it off the screen.
Yeah. So my thought process for not being on camera was very sound there. So
I understand now.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to run this as a one-off because when we showed signing scripts, we've never turned that back off, and this is not signed. We're just going to run it in that way, and while that's going, we're going to see if I can't
Whoa.
find the schedule.
Oh, there we go.
Boy,
So that's all
popping
the
up a lot of
deletions
things.
it's running?
Yeah, that's deleting every name, and you can see it's clearing up. That is way faster.
That is really aggressive.
Well, time out.
Yeah.
That didn't take any time. I'm thinking Colby's way may be a little more thorough and not so time.
So what happened was for the time that I wrote this, when the issue, John, who's working on making things run a bit faster, made
High five to John.
no, not high five to John. I was right once. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Forget our end users who use this. Let's
so apparently some jerk went through and continued to improve our product while we're going, and now that's much faster.
way to go, John. Nicely done.
All right. So
Okay,
I have
that
in there,
cleared it out. That's awesome.
Yeah, I have in there why delete schedule history at all. That's because we have a setting in there on the schedule, and I'll
Under options. Yeah.
pull it up there, right there. The stop deploying once target succeeds. The reason we have that is so if it installs the product, we don't want to continue to run the schedule against those machines. So it has a list there where it won't attempt to install that again, just to kind of save you some time, some headache. But the problem is when we update the package, it's never going to run in that case because it looks at on the target history as it has run. So we're clearing that out. So in the future, it will be able to run without issue.
So your new version of... Oh, we ought to check those variables too.
Oh, we got to make sure the variable's updated.
Yeah.
You're not going to take my word for it.
I know.
All right.
You wouldn't take Lex's.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice.
2, 4, 5, and 7. That's true. I wouldn't take Lexus, but I'm.
I wouldn't
pretty
take
good at
mine
Lex.
either, and I'm me.
Yeah. All right, and so yeah, the variables for both, and this is where if the case sensitivity changed between your products, one would update, the other one wouldn't. It's the PowerShell when does the update requires case sensitivity. Yeah.
Excellent.
Do we have any questions?
Yes, we do. Have a little scenario here for you. Software company releases .exe software, which is called Service Packet 4. After a month, they release Service Packet 5. However, Service Packet 4 needs to be installed before Service Packet 5. What is the best practice to automate this installation process, and how can I easily filter outdated ones and new ones? Thanks, Lucas.
So we're going to open up the deploy here.
Man, I would be all about conditions in the
Yeah,
package.
absolutely.
I would have a
Implement here.
step
So-
that I would have a step early on in the package that looks for
You could do
conditions
Yep.
that would show missing service packet 4.
Yeah, so you have
And
these
if that
conditions
is
here.
if that exists, it would just move on to, if service packet 4 is there, it would just move on to 5.
Yeah, and those are just right here in the package, just on the conditions tab for the step you can set where it looks for a file registry or a collection, where you can filter out that way where it will skip if it is or is not installed.
Yeah. You can also you could build I guess you could do another collection also. Reference the collection. Is this in this collection? Yes. Okay, then go ahead and
Yeah,
roll
or
with it. But
if you want to get into nested packages, you could have if it doesn't exist, it installs for, so it will do the install.
absolutely, yeah.
All right, next question.
Dear Lex, Jordan, and Shane, how can I automate all updates for one machine automatically, software and OS at once? Sincerely, Phil.
So this should work for that. It's just going to require you to build it out for the first time. So you're going to have the package to update for all of those for each one. But then just for each thing you're updating, you want to add that to the PowerShell script. And you should be able to update all those at the same time.
And we had a little debate yesterday whether or not to have a PowerShell script for every software that was out there, so it's easy to find that one specifically.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, if you go in, you'd have to have a task schedule for every single one of those scripts to run. So we just thought it would be easier to put it in one file and just separate it.
Yeah, if you're having multiple schedules, it's going to be a task schedule for each one, which will be a bit consuming, I guess.
So at this point, all you'd have to do is just schedule that new script that you wrote, and it's going to,
It'll be a busy day for that machine.
yep.
Hey guys, how deep do you cut your packages into small pieces, steps, as opposed to having just one step with a giant PowerShell script that handles everything? Thanks, Max.
Well, let's take a look at the Windows 10 one, I guess.
I'd say it depends on the situation.
Yeah, so if it's just an installer and that works, we'll just have the installer in there. For the Windows 10, as you can see, we had to kill a service, so that's its own step. And then we have the 64 versus 32-bit installers, and then we have the final PowerShell step. So 4 steps for the Windows Update one. It depends on what it is. If just an installer will handle it, we're happy to just do the one step, but each one varies.
I would say a good rule of thumb is this. If you were to do like a kill process and the kill process didn't work in your PowerShell script, would it continue to, you get an error. It says, okay, step 1 didn't work. Let's say you did that kill step in step 1 and it didn't work, then you'd know where it didn't work as opposed to going back and reading through your PowerShell script to figure out where it didn't work. So
And you have the ability to continue from the failed steps. So you
that's
could go through
true.
and find out where
So
that
you got
was wrong.
some options there too.
How can I deploy Chrome and Firefox with auto update enabled? Crazy pub.
So for this one, we actually have Chrome up here.
You'd
for
put a
options.
post step in there and undo the disable auto update.
Yeah, if you don't want to use create your own package, you want to, basically, I think they're saying, I want to use the package in the package library, but have those, do it like said, have a post step that undoes what
Undoes step 3.
the other steps do, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you get the auto updates.
Or you can create your own package that just takes care of that, that never does the disable.
Hey guys, if it was pointed to the old version of the product in inventory, can you not keep the version history by unticking the stop deploying once succeeded option? Sincerely, Ryan A.
A couple of things you're going to run into with that. You notice my schedule runs on patch Tuesday. Let's say we hit all the machines on patch Tuesday. Next patch Tuesday comes and there's no update. It's going to install that same version again on every single one of those machines and make that attempt. Now, once a month may not be a big deal, but let's say you had that run every week. You'd be trying to install the same software every week.
I just say click that and keep that. When you're installing software, don't even keep that checked. Don't deploy if it's already received it.
Yeah.
And if it's for version history, I guess if you have that archive, it is going to have each version number as the folder name within the archive. Not ideal.
Version
but-
histories, you can also take a look at the deployments to a machine in inventory. You can look in that table and say, hey, what's been deployed to this machine? And depending on how long you keep that, it's another place to look for that kind of.
All right.
Hey guys, can deploy and inventory share or sync the same variables? If not, are there plans for the future? 2 guys with the same question, Jeremy and Jason.
So I believe if it's a server client setup, then our variables should copy over. But I don't know.
Can deploy an inventory?
We deploy an inventory.
No,
I was thinking
they can't.
more
That's why we
yeah.
built the variables on both of them. They don't. Yeah, we had to do it with PowerShell to get those to sync up. So
I was not answering the right question at all.
Is there any way to automatically sort packages and collections alphabetically? Worst P.
So there is the auto sort, I believe, which I'm going to see if I can find it. Auto sort, so just right clicked there and you have auto sort, which should do a pretty good job of
Yeah, you just have to select an object above it,
Yeah.
hierarchical.
Yeah, so there we go. And that's already checked.
ding.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, it should work. Yeah, and then Kobe just put in the chat, there are currently no plans for shared variables between the products. So.
Hey Lex, Jordan, and Shane, why does your Firefox installer erase favorites when installing updates using the MSI installer? EXEs do not have this issue. Any plans on adding an EXE installer to the package library? Sincerely, Jerry.
I wasn't aware. that
I
it
don't know
did
how to
that.
answer that question.
So I think
I'm
on
not sure.
default, if the MSI is available, we prefer that just because the parameters are going to be the
Universal,
same.
yeah.
Universal.
I didn't know that it erased the favorites.
Yeah,
We used to use the EXE until the MSI became quite stable.
Yeah.
We used the EXE for years. But if the MSI is erasing favorites,
Yeah, that's
maybe
we'll definitely
make sure
on
that-
Something we should look into.
We
I
can
Yeah.
check the parameters on that. Yeah.
We'll find out why. If we can't correct that, then probably there will be an EXE coming.
Thanks for letting us know.
And the speed round continues. Guys, can you have multiple folder locations for the repository with the same data for load balancing? Sincerely, David B.
DFS?
I would say DFS is probably your bet. Now that's replication, load balancing. I don't know if DFS will load balance, but I do know it'll replicate, and then you can pull the local copy, which is a huge advantage over pushing stuff across your wide area network.
Yep. We do have a previous webcast you can watch about how setting up DFS for
Absolutely.
for PowerShell.
Hey guys, could you simply define business license versus pro license? Since I'm alone, should I buy a pro license? Lucas.
You can answer that one, Kelly.
Yeah.
You'll let me?
Yeah. Kelly got this one.
We have what's called an enterprise license. That is appropriate for businesses. We also have a free version that you can use. Most of the time people find, it is functional, but it's limited to one step. So I would recommend our enterprise license. Now, if you're looking for a larger organization, 15 administrators and above, then you can go to what's called Enterprise SL, which gives you essentially unlimited administrators on a single server installation. Is that clear as mud?
Yeah, but where it's just you, a single license should be fine. We charge per administrator. So if it's just you, one license, it would be your best bet.
Guys, can we automate package versioning, like picking version from the file name? Selfman.
Selfman.
Hey, I would say, PowerShell, you can definitely, if you want to try and do it that way. The thing that I think we found is most vendors do it differently. There's not, you've got 7-zip 19 and the versions in the title, and you got, Adobe Reader, no version in the title or in the file name. So it's just hard to do that way. I mean, if you've got PowerShell can pick it for the ones that you have.
This one kind of does, because basically you're just putting the installer and setting the folder name by the version, and then we have the path, and you could put the variable into the name itself, and it should work that way. But that's probably the best you're going to get for that one.
Yeah.
2 questions remaining. This one could be for Lex. Are there any tools in development for Linux workstations joined to a domain with SSSD? Sincerely, Devin.
With SSD. Tools in development. I am always good at saying it's possible, but currently I don't know that we've got any Linux stuff in development right now.
For our products, no, but PowerShell is now available on
PowerShell does.
But
Yeah,
our
PowerShell
product
Core,
would
isn't
not
it?
be able to say. Yeah, it's PowerShell Core,
So-
or I think 7 now handles all of that. But
And our final question of the day. I'm in a solo shop. It's me against the world with inventory and deploy. Our MSP manages Cylance on our endpoints. PDQ PowerShell scripts in the package library are blocked by Cylance. They told me to change PDQ settings to invoke ISE instead of PS1. Is there a way to do that, or are they mistaken? Sincerely, that guy.
so I'm not familiar with Cylance.
Can you invoke an ISE though?
That's odd.
Yeah.
That's asking. That's basically asking Notepad to open command kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Similar.
Or whatever their ISE is.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they're specific. Well, I think they're specifically asking for the PowerShell ISE,
Yeah,
right?
I would imagine.
The program ISE.
Can
I would
you-
love to see Colby's face right now.
Well, I think he said.
He'll type in the Slack channel.
We need to get the
real quick.
Colby cam set up.
Yeah. As far as the default way to do it, I never even crossed my mind to attempt it, so I don't have a great
Could
answer.
you
for
run
that.
an ISE from a command line and then call the PowerShell script after that?
You basically have to open up the ISE and have it load in the script from there, which seems
Yeah, okay.
I don't-
know. I'm just swinging in the wind here.
I don't let's see.
Maybe have them read into, or have.
Yeah,
Try
you,
invoke
and Colby says you
expression.
can't use
Can
the
you
ISE
see that
to
in the-
execute
yeah.
scripts silently.
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah, so that
Gotta love
is
the
a
Colby.
weird one. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Silence, so I can't really dive into that one. But that is an
What an
interesting
odd last
requirement.
question.
Yeah, that is a. If I hadn't already had all of my alcohol, I'd have to drink right now.
Way to pick him, Kelly.
Anytime, guys.
Let's wait for Jordan and Lex to be sauced before we throw this. They have to have a Rubik's cube to try to follow.
That's what makes it fun.
A lot of words to say we don't know, or probably not. Yeah. All right, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully this will help you automate all the packages that we can't give you an auto download for. We always try to achieve, the laziest version of ourselves, and we want everyone else to join us at that state.
That's right. Aspire to be lazy, guys.
For PDQ.com, I'm Jordan.
I'm Lex.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations, Jeremy G. and Jason M., winners of PDQ swag. Please send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. If you have additional questions, by all means, reach out to our support staff and our forums. Thanks again for joining us. Stay safe and have a great week.